You know the vibes, www.daymcomic.com, DAYMCOMIC.com. Click the link below. Order your comic books right now. They're dropping in a few months. Don't be without one.
What's going on, everyone? Antonio here. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up for me. Let's get into it. All right, so we have heard from Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran's been doing quite a bit of press. He is preparing for his appearance this weekend on SNL. The host is Succession's Kieran Culkin. Maybe we'll get a cameo from Kieran's older brother, Macaulay. But Ed Sheeran's going to be the musical guest on Saturday Night Live this weekend. He's been doing a couple of interviews. He did, was it the Armchair Expert podcast? That is the podcast from Shepard. And he was talking a lot about his career and different things. One thing he revealed one of the reasons I wanted to make this video was he talked about his appearance on season 7 of Game of Thrones. He said a couple things about it, because one thing, when the fans were going in and didn't like the fact that he was on Game of Thrones, he was seeing that negative backlash, and he said he was so excited to do the show. And then all the negativity that came after he had that appearance on there, he said it kind of soured it for him. You know, it kind of killed the buzz, I believe was what he said. He said it kind of killed the buzz for him, which is sad. You know, it's interesting because I have, Ed Sheeran is one of my favorite artists. I love Ed Sheeran's music. And the matter of fact, there was a young woman that I was engaged to. We were living together, and she heard me playing Ed Sheeran when we moved in. I was actually making us some dinner, and I had Ed Sheeran, playing on my phone. And she was like, oh, I hate Ed Sheeran. She was just being so negative, right? And so I knew she didn't like Ed Sheeran, but she liked what she liked. She liked more classical music and stuff. Matter of fact, it was weird. First night we were together, when we had our sleepover. Normally when I make my moves, I got like some Jodeci on, Keith Sweat, some of the old R&B classics and stuff. That wasn't really her thing. She liked classical music. So I'm making my move, and we got classical, I've got the New York Philharmonic in the background. This is a true story. It's crazy. But I'm cooking. She's in the living room, and she hears Ed Sheeran playing on my phone. But I was playing Perfect, the duet version. Ed Sheeran did a duet of his song Perfect with the tenor Andrea Bocelli, another person which I'm a big fan of, Andrea Bocelli. And my girlfriend, she knew Andre, but she loved him just like I did. And she was like, Andrea Bocelli did a song with Ed Sheeran? And she couldn't believe it. She was blown away by that. And I was like, yeah. And all of a sudden I had to send her the link and all this. And it was kind of crazy, because a couple weeks later, we were going somewhere in her car, and she, she was playing music. And all of a sudden, she had a whole Ed Sheeran playlist. And that was strange, because I was like, wait a minute, you hate Ed Sheeran. You was telling me. And I guess after listening to Andrea Bocelli and Ed Sheeran, she decided to listen to some more of his music. And she decided that he wasn't so bad after all. She looked at me and she was like, what, I can't change my mind? And I was like, no, you can change your mind, but you was hating. So it was crazy. But that's my little experience with Ed Sheeran, that I'm such a fan. But one thing he said on the podcast, going back to the season 7 thing, he mentioned season 7 was supposed to be Maisie Williams' last season. She wasn't supposed to be in season 8. Matter of fact, the reason he was on season 7 of Game of Thrones was because D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, they had already kind of reached out to him, and they wanted to do something special for Maisie since she was leaving the show. And no one was supposed to tell Maisie that Ed Sheeran was going to appear on this episode. So this is like 2016, and a lot of the cast members from Game of Thrones are at San Diego Comic-Con. You know, they do those big fan panels and stuff. So they're doing a fan panel, and Sophie Turner, who of course played Sansa Stark, the Queen in the North. Okay, so Sansa Stark, Sophie Turner accidentally, or I guess she forgot about it, that nobody was supposed to tell Maisie that Ed was going to do the show. And she just kind of casually blurted out at the panel that Ed Sheeran was going to appear in season 7 of Game of Thrones. And Maisie was the only one on the panel that didn't know. And she had this kind of like dumbstruck look on her face, like, oh my God, what? You know, she couldn't believe it, you know. But like I said, this was supposed to be a going away present for her. They obviously changed their minds and wrote her into season 8. So I guess they, you know, as they were going over the scripts, they decided, hey, let's not off Arya Stark just yet and bring her back. And so this brings up kind of an interesting point. Remember, some of you Game of Thrones fans, when season 7 and season 8 were out and people were complaining about how the plots were jumping around and all this, and then obviously Arya was the one who killed the Night King, and people were like, whoa. And then they said, oh, we foreshadowed that like in what, season 3 or whatever, when you know, the red priestess chick was telling her, you know, she's gonna close many eyes, blue eyes and white eyes and blah blah, you know, all the green eyes. That whole thing, they was like, oh, that was foreshadowing her destroying the Night King. But now, like I said, we know from Ed Sheeran, she wasn't even supposed to be there. So she wasn't originally supposed to be there. So all that lying about, oh, they were foreshadowing her doing this the whole time is completely cap. It's they're calling Kaepernick. They're lying. So that makes a lot more sense that since she was not supposed to actually be there past the 7th season. I'm kind of curious how they were going to off her, or what they were going to do with her to you know, were they going to give her like a heroic death in season 7? Because remember, D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, they came back to America and they had dinner with George R.R. Martin, and he explained how the story ended, the whole night, you know, who Jon Snow's mother was. You know, they did, there's a video of this on I know on HBO, like you can access it when they were doing premieres for going into the final seasons. And they were just talking about, you know, he kind of explained to them how the story was supposed to end, the whole deal. And then they kind of did their thing. Now, obviously, George R.R. Martin has spoken about how the fans reacted to how Game of Thrones ended, which he didn't, you know, he understands that people were passionate about how the show ended, but he also has spoken about how he didn't like some of the toxic behavior that the fandom has done. And, you know, just a lot of people were very upset at D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, which I got to be honest, I didn't love how the show ended. That last season was so choppy. It was crazy. It was all over the place. And they started so brilliant, they just didn't stick the landing. That's just my opinion. I'm not a toxic fan, but whatever. And, you know, some of the other cast members, like, you know, Kit Harington, I saw him doing, you know, he was doing Eternals press a couple months ago, and it came out. He was like, he still can't watch. He was upset with how some of the fans responded to it. And he's also mentioned that he kind of has some trepidation about watching the House of the Dragon Game of the Thrones prequel that's coming up, which I'm looking forward to checking that out. But yeah, this, like I said, is the Armchair Expert podcast with Dax Shepard, Ed Sheeran. It's a good listen if you like podcasting. You know, be sure to check it out. What did you think? Do you like Ed Sheeran? Did you hate him when he appeared on Game of Thrones? Get in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. I'm out. PlaceTheBets.com, guys. Are you tired of crapping out on sites like Fanduel and Draftkings? Go to PlaceTheBets.com. Set your fantasy lineup. Baseball, football, basketball, hockey. They got them all. They'll set your lineup. 30 days is only $1. You can go, you can sign up right now. That 30 days is only $1. PlaceTheBets.com and get that Skrilla. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and please check out my podcast at anchor.fm/AkariPress, or just type in Akari Press on your favorite streaming platform today.